The moment the clip hit the internet, people didn't believe it was real. A 17-year-old boy smirking in court, shrugging as the judge read out the words, driving her to suicide. But what nobody saw in that first viral snippet was the woman in the second row gripping the edge of her seat so hard her nails dug into the wood, his mother quietly deciding she was finally going to end the monster she helped create. The boy's name was Aiden. Brooks.17. Private school hoodie. Diamond studs glinting in both ears. Hair styled like he was headed to a photo shoot instead of a courtroom. His case wasn't some shoplifting charge or petty vandalism. He was being sued for wrongful death, defamation, and emotional abuse. The dead girl's name was Emily Hart, 15, honor roll student. Choir kid. The kind of girl who stayed after class to help teachers stack chairs. 3 months before this hearing, Emily had walked out of school for the last time, gone home, and never made it to the next morning. On paper, the official cause was suicide. In reality, the trail of screenshots, voice notes, and group chats told a much uglier story. For nearly a year, Aiden had led a campaign against her, a slow, relentless, high-tech strangling of her spirit. It started as harmless jokes in a group chat, memes about her clothes, her braces, her weird laugh. Then it escalated. Her face photoshopped onto explicit images. Anonymous accounts flooding her DMs with "go kill yourself." Secret videos taken in class. Emily dropping her books, tripping over a chair looped with captions like "clown of the day" and "do the world a favor." Every time a teacher tried to step in, the accounts would vanish, then reappear. Every time a parent complained, the kids closed ranks. It was just memes. It was just banter. Everyone was too sensitive. Until the day Emily wasn't sensitive anymore. She was gone. Her parents found the note on her desk. It wasn't long. It didn't blame anyone by name. It just said she was tired of being a joke. Tired of waiting for it to stop. Tired. It took 2 weeks for her best friend to crack and show her parents the screenshots. It took 3 days after that for lawyers to get involved. It took one look at the chat logs for everyone to realize this wasn't normal teenage drama. This was systematic, organized emotional torture. At the center of almost every thread, every push, every "let's take it up a notch," one username appeared over and over: Brooks King. Aiden. By the time they walked into Judge Judy's courtroom, the case had already been all over local news. Cyberbullying tragedy, school in mourning. Teachers cried on camera. Students posted black squares and hashtags about standing against bullying. Aiden posted workout videos, song lyrics, and a blurry selfie from a party the weekend after Emily's funeral. No black square. No hashtag. No pause. He told his friends it wasn't that deep. That she must have had other problems. That they can't pin this on me. I was just joking. What he didn't know was that his own mother had been awake at 3 a.m. night after night, scrolling through those same messages, those same videos, seeing her son in ways she'd never allowed herself to see him, the way his words piled on, the way his laughing emojis sat under every cruel comment, the way he encouraged others to join in. Don't let up. She learned like a coach leading a game. She defended him for months. To the school, to relatives, to herself. He would never mean it. He's not that kind of boy. Teenagers say stupid things. But then she found a voice note. 32 seconds long. It was Aiden's voice. No doubt. Calm. Cold. If she actually does it, he'd said, then maybe she shouldn't have been here anyway. Weak people break. That's not my fault. Patricia Brooks had dropped the phone. Actually dropped it. The sound of it hitting the tile echoed through her empty kitchen. For the first time since Aiden was born, she'd been afraid of her own child. Now she was in the second row, heart pounding out of her chest. watching him lean back in his chair like this was a boring school assembly and not the day. His entire life was going to be laid out in front of America. On the other side of the courtroom sat Emily's parents. No designer clothes. No legal team paid for by a family firm. Just two exhausted people clutching each other's hands. Their daughter's photo propped on the table in front of them, a smiling 15-year-old in a choir robe. Frozen in a moment before she knew what his group chats would do to her, Judge Judy scanned the room, eyes slicing through tension like a knife. She saw Emily's parents' grief. She saw Patricia's shaking hands, and she saw Aiden's bored, almost amused expression. She'd seen that look before. Too many times. The cameras were rolling. The internet didn't know it yet, but they were about to get a front row seat to something they rarely see. Not just a judge going off on a cool teenager, a mother finally saying, "No more," even if it meant destroying her son's reputation, his freedom, and his carefully manufactured image in one brutal sitting. If you're watching this, don't look away, because the things Aiden says in the next few minutes will make your blood boil, and what his mother does after. You might not agree with it, you might not think you could ever do the same, but you will not forget it. Asterisk. Case of Hart versus Brooks, the bailiff announced. Allegations of wrongful death, harassment, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The courtroom quieted. The only sound was the soft rustle of paper as Judge Judy flipped through the thick file in front of her. Screenshots, transcripts, a coroner's report, a school's internal emails panicking about optics and liability. She didn't rush. She let the silence stretch, heavy, suffocating. When she finally looked up, her gaze went straight to Aiden. "State your name," she said. He smirked. "Aiden Brooks." "Mr. Brooks," she replied, "do you understand why you're here today?" He shrugged one shoulder. "Because people are blaming me for something I didn't do," he said. "Like, I texted some stuff, but I didn't make anyone do anything. No, Your Honor. No, ma'am. Just vibes. Sit up straight," she said sharply. "And from now on, you will address this court as Your Honor. Understood?" He let out a tiny laugh through his nose. The kind teens do when they're pretending to agree. Double quotes, "Yes, Your Honor," he said, dragging the title out just enough that everyone could hear the sarcasm. Patricia winced. Judge Judy held up a page blown up screenshots of one of the group chats. Usernames lined the side. Messages flew. Laughing emojis, calls, knives, phrases like, "You're literally a waste. Do the world a favor. No one would miss you." One name appeared over and over. Pushing, prompting, leading. "Brooks King, you recognize this conversation?" she asked. Aiden leaned forward, squinted briefly, then leaned back. "Looks like a group chat," he said. Everyone was talking. "Not just me. Are you Brooks King?" "Yes. Did you write these messages?" He shifted. "Most of them, yeah. But people edited some. You know how screenshots are." Emily's father made a low sound in his throat. Her mother squeezed his arm so tightly her knuckles went white. "Read this line," Judge Judy said, tapping the page. "If she actually does it, at least we won't have to see her ugly face anymore. Did you write that?" Aiden's jaw clenched, then relaxed. "Maybe," he muttered. "It was a joke." Dark humor. People joke like that online all the time. Dark humor, she repeated, voice flat. "Is that what we're calling telling a 15-year-old girl to kill herself now?" He rolled his eyes. "You're taking it literally." Nobody thought she'd actually. He cut himself off, but too late. "Actually what?" Judge Judy pressed. "Follow your suggestion?" The room seemed to tilt toward him, waiting. He looked away, staring at a spot on the wall. Asterisk. She had issues, he said. Everyone knew she was fragile. It's not on me if she couldn't handle life. I didn't push her off a bridge. I just sent text. Emily's mother made a choking noise, tears spilling over. Her husband pulled her close, but his own eyes were red. Judge Judy's gaze went like steel. "You're right, Mr. Brooks," she said. "You didn't push her off a bridge. She died in her own bedroom. After reading months of your jokes, after seeing her face pasted on pornography, after listening to voice notes of you calling her weak and worthless." She picked up another page. "This," she said, "is a transcript of the note Emily left. She doesn't mention you by name, but she does say this: 'I am tired of waking up to 100 messages telling me I should die. I am tired of my classmates laughing at me. I am tired of being a joke in someone else's group chat.'" She leaned forward. "Does that sound like nothing but jokes to you?" Aiden shifted in his seat, the first real discomfort flickering across his face. "You're acting like I was the only one," he said. "Everyone was in on it. I didn't start everything. People sent me stuff and I just added to it. Why am I the only one getting dragged here?" His attorney laid a warning hand on his arm. He shrugged it off. Judge Judy's eyes flicked briefly to Patricia, "Because," she said, "when investigators traced the accounts, the IP addresses, the saved drafts, the original edits, one name came up over and over, yours. Because you didn't just add to it, Mr. Brooks. You let it." She pulled out a printed email. Asterisk, "This is from the dean of your school," she said. "He describes you as a dominant social influence, a ringleader, and the person others take their cues from. When you laughed, they laughed. When you posted, they posted. You called it content, Emily called it hell." Aiden huffed. "He's just covering himself. They don't want to look bad, so they blame me. Classic." The arrogance oozed off each word. "And this," she continued, lifting another paper, "is a report from the previous school you attended, the one you were transferred from in 9th grade. It details another incident of harassment. Different girl, different year, same pattern. Anonymous accounts, edited photos, group chats, and again, the same name at the center." Aiden's veneer cracked a little more. "That was years ago," he snapped. "We were kids. It was stupid, whatever. No one died then, so why does it matter now?" Patricia closed her eyes. There it was. The exact sentence that had echoed in her kitchen when she played the voice note on repeat. "If no one dies, it's not that serious." Judge Judy folded her hands. "It matters," she said. Each word clipped because it shows a pattern. Not of a one-time mistake. Of cruelty. Of leadership and cruelty. Of enjoying the power you have over weaker people. He opened his mouth, but she lifted a hand. "Do you feel any responsibility at all?" she asked slowly, "for the fact that Emily Hart is dead?" The camera zoomed in. The world would slow this clip down later, analyzing every twitch of his face. Aiden hesitated just long enough to make any rehearsed empathy look fake. Then he shrugged. "I mean, it sucks she's dead," he said. "But like I said, she had other problems. It's not on me if she couldn't deal. Life's harsh. People need to toughen up." The words fell like acid. Emily's mother fully broke then, a deep, raw sob tearing out of her chest. The bailiff reached for the tissue box. Hands tighter than usual. Judge Judy's voice dropped to that deadly quiet tone. "Everyone recognizes as the line between annoyed and done, Mr. Brooks," she said. "You are playing a very dangerous game here. You are showing this court and this country exactly the person you are. And I assure you, I am listening." He smirked again, but his leg was shaking under the table. What he didn't notice was the movement in his peripheral vision. His mother, Patricia, slowly rising from her seat. She had sat through the screenshots, through the texts, through the voice notes played on the monitors, through her son calling a dead girl weak and unable to handle life. She had heard it all. And she had reached her limit. Asterisk. "Your Honor," Patricia said, her voice cutting through the air like a thin, sharp blade. Judge Judy's eyes shifted from Aiden to her. reading the grief, the terror, and underneath all of it a hard, newly forged resolve. "Yes, ma'am," the judge replied. "State your name." "Patricia Brooks," she said. I'm Aiden's mother. If the court will allow, I need to say something." Aiden twisted around so fast his chair squeaked. "Mom, no," he hissed. "You don't have to say anything." "My lawyer said, Mr. Brooks," Judge Judy snapped, face forward. "You are not running this courtroom. Your mother is speaking now." The bailiff took a half step closer to his chair. Aiden slumped back, eyes burning into the side of his mother's face. Patricia walked down the aisle with slow, deliberate steps. Not the confident stride of a senator's wife or a corporate power mom. She moved like someone walking into a storm they knew they'd caused and finally decided to stand in. She took the oath. "I do," she whispered, voice trembling. "Mrs. Brooks," Judge Judy said, more gently than she'd spoken all morning, "what do you want this court to know?" Patricia looked at Emily's parents first. "I am so sorry," she said, the words cracking halfway through. "There are no words that will ever be enough. My son contributed to your daughter's death. Nothing I say can change that. But I need you to know I am not here to defend him. I am here to tell the truth." Then she turned to face Aiden. He looked suddenly younger, smaller. The swagger was gone. For the first time, true panic glittered just beneath the surface. "Mom," he pleaded, almost whispering. "Please don't do this. We can talk at home." "Don't, Aiden," she interrupted, her tone unlike anything he'd ever heard from her. "Home is why we're here." She turned back to Judge Judy. "I have been lying for my son for years," she said. "To schools. To other parents. To myself. Every time a teacher called, every time a mother said, 'Your son hurt my child,' I rushed in with explanations." He stressed. He didn't mean it. Boys can be cruel. But they grow out of it. Her jaw clenched. When he was 13 and a girl at his old school stopped coming to class because of a rumor he started, I told myself it wasn't his fault. That other kids had joined in. That he couldn't control everyone. When the school quietly suggested we consider other options and we transferred him, I told our family it was for better academics. She shook her head slowly. "I see now what that really was. It was them saying, 'We can't handle what he's becoming,' and me refusing to hear it." Aiden slammed a hand on the table. "Why are you bringing all that up?" He burst out. "It was years ago. It didn't matter. No one died back then." The words hung in the air like a confession. Patricia closed her eyes in pain. Judge Judy's stare could have cracked stone. "Mr. Brooks," she said, "if you interrupt your mother one more time, I will have you removed." "Understood?" He swallowed hard and nodded, eyes wet, mouth a hard line. Patricia continued, voice steadier now, building strength from each truth she'd been afraid to say. "When I saw the screenshots in this case," she said, "I wanted to believe it was exaggerated, that the kids were piling on and Aiden was just caught up. Then I heard that voice note." Asterisk, she looked at Judge Judy directly, the one where he said, "If she actually does it, then maybe she shouldn't have been here anyway. Weak people break. That's not my fault." Several people in the gallery flinched hearing it out loud. I listened to that over and over. Patricia said, "That is not a boy caught up. That is a boy who believes other people's suffering is a joke. A boy who enjoys knowing he can push someone to the edge and still feel nothing." She wiped her eyes roughly. I realized I don't know my son the way I pretended to. I know the child I wanted him to be. The one I described in every meeting. Kind, funny, misunderstood. But the child who left that voice note, the boy who can sit here and call a dead girl weak. Her voice hardened. That boy is dangerous. A sharp inhale went up around the room. Even Emily's parents looked briefly stunned, not by the label, but by who was saying it. Judge Judy leaned in. "Mrs. Brooks," she said, "you understand that what you're saying here could influence the outcome of this case? That you are essentially testifying against your own son?" "Yes," Patricia said simply. "I understand." "Then I'm going to ask you plainly," the judge continued. "Do you believe your son bears responsibility for Emily Hart's death?" Patricia didn't hesitate. "Asterisk, yes," she said. "Not alone. The school failed her. Other kids joined in, but my son let it. He knew what he was doing. He saw her break a little more each week, and instead of stopping, he pressed harder. Her next words landed like a hammer, and I'm done pretending that is anything other than what it is: cruelty. Aiden's face crumpled. Tears that hadn't come for Emily, for her parents, for any of the evidence, now spilled over for himself. "You're ruining my life," he choked. "Do you get that? You're literally destroying your own son on TV. Everyone's going to see this. My friends, college people, everyone. You're done." "I'm never Mr. Brooks." Judge Judy snapped, gavel coming down once. "You will not threaten your mother in my courtroom." But Patricia just shook her head sadly. "Your life?" She repeated softly. "Emily doesn't have a life. Her mother doesn't get to argue with her about college applications. Her father doesn't get to complain about how loud her music is. There never is forever. Yours is a choice." She turned back to the bench. "Your Honor," she said, voice firm. "I am begging you, do not let him walk out of this with a slap on the wrist. And don't do it again. Don't let my excuses continue through the legal system. If you treat this like teenage drama, if you tell him he's too young for real consequences, you will not only fail Emily, you will finish what I started. You will finish turning my son into someone who believes truly, deeply, that other human beings are content." Silence stopped pure. Heavy, devastating silence. Judge Judy's eyes glistened. Just for a second. Then they hardened again. "Thank you, Mrs. Brooks," she said quietly. "You may step back." As Patricia walked to her seat, Aiden stared at her like she'd stabbed him. "You're dead to me," he whispered, voice shaking. "You hear me? Dead. Don't talk to me after this. Don't write. Don't visit. We're done." Asterisk. Patricia paused by Emily's parents' table. She didn't touch them, didn't try to hug them. She just bowed her head and said, so softly it barely carried, "I'm so sorry. For all of it." Then she sat down. And for the first time that day, Aiden truly understood. His mother hadn't come to save him. She'd come to surrender him. Asterisk. The air in the courtroom felt different now, thicker. Like everyone was breathing through cotton. Judge Judy sat back for a long moment, fingers steepled, eyes moving between Emily's parents, Patricia, and Aiden. "In 25 years on the bench," she said finally, voice low but carrying, "I have seen angry parents. I have seen delusional parents. I have seen parents who will lie, cheat, and threaten to keep their children from facing even the smallest consequence." She looked directly at Patricia. Asterisk. "What I have just seen from you, Mrs. Brooks, is the rarest thing of all. A parent who loves their child enough to stop protecting them." Patricia's shoulders shook, but she kept her chin up. Judge Judy turned back to Aiden. Asterisk. "Stand up," she said. He rose slowly, eyes rimmed red, cheeks flushed with a mix of shame, rage, and terror. "Young man," she continued, "you walked into this courtroom today acting like this was an inconvenience. Like the death of your classmate was a minor narrative problem in the story of your life. You have referred to sustained psychological abuse as jokes and a dead girl as weak. You have shown me, and everyone watching, exactly who you are right now." He opened his mouth, but she cut him off with a look. "Do not speak," she snapped. "You have done enough of that?" She picked up the file again. "Here are the facts," she said. "Emily Hart is dead." She left a note describing months of torment that match, detail for detail, the evidence we have from your devices. You were at the center of every conversation. You created content designed to humiliate and isolate her. You kept going even as she visibly deteriorated. She flipped to a page near the back. "This is a statement from one of your classmates," she said. "They say we all laughed because Aiden laughed. He made it seem okay. If he had stopped, most of us would have stopped. We were scared of being his next target." She looked back up. "That is not one of the crowd. That is leadership. You used your social power as a weapon." Aiden's facade of cool finally shattered. Tears streaked down his face. He looked for a split second, like a little boy caught doing something awful. I didn't think she'd actually do it, he choked. I swear I didn't. We messed with everyone. I thought she'd just, I don't know, transfer or something. Everyone's acting like I held the rope. I didn't. And that, Judge Judy said, is exactly why you are so dangerous. Because you think if you don't hold the rope, you're not responsible for the noose you tied. She took off her glasses, set them carefully on the bench. Here's my judgment, she said, voice like iron. I find in favor of the plaintiffs. You are liable for intentional infliction of emotional distress and wrongful death. The financial damages will be set by a higher court, but make no mistake, every cent will follow you. He swayed slightly, gripping the edge of the table. But money, she continued, isn't the part I'm most interested in. The camera zoomed in again. This is the clip that would be stitched with gasps and slow-mo and red circles later. As of today, she said, you will be removed from your current school environment immediately. You will be enrolled in a court-mandated residential treatment and education program for a minimum of 2 years. This is not a camp. This is not a wellness retreat. This is a locked facility for juveniles who pose a risk to others. Aiden's lawyer stepped forward. Your Honor, that's sit down, counselor, she said without looking at him. He is lucky he is sitting in a civil courtroom and not a criminal one. If the laws of the state were different, we would be talking about manslaughter. She turned back to Aiden. During those 2 years, you will have no access to social media. None. No phone with internet. No anonymous accounts. No content. You will attend daily group sessions with other offenders. You will sit in restorative justice circles and hear from victims of harassment, bullying, and abuse. You will listen. You will not perform. He shook his head, panicked. You can't take my phone, he blurted. You can't just lock me up with crazy people. I'm not like them. This will ruin my whole life, college, everything. Your choices did that, Judge Judy cut in. Not my orders. You were ruining someone else's life and thought it was entertainment. Now you get to live with the knowledge that entertainment killed her. Her voice softened just a hair, not with sympathy, but with something deeper. And when you are done with that program, she said, you will not simply go back to scrolling and posting. You will perform 200 hours of community service specifically dedicated to anti-bullying and mental health education. Under supervision. In every session, you will say your name and what you did. You will look into the eyes of kids who remind you of Emily and tell them it was not their fault. He stared at her, stunned. I can't. You can, she said. And you will. Or you will violate the terms of this judgment and find yourself in a much less forgiving system. She turned to Patricia. Double quotes, Mrs. Brooks, she said. You asked me not to continue your pattern of protection. I am granting that request. This will not be easy. He will resent you. He will call you names. He may not speak to you for years. Patricia nodded, tears streaming. I know, she whispered. He already said I'm dead to him. Judge Judy looked back at Aiden. Double quotes, Mr. Brooks, she said. Your mother just did the bravest, most loving thing I have seen a parent do in a very long time. You may feel betrayed now. One day, if you become half the man she still hopes you can be, you will look back at this moment and realize she saved whatever part of you is still worth saving. She picked up her gavel. Asterisk, to the Hart family, she said. Turning to Emily's parents, there is nothing I can do in this room that will bring your daughter back. There's no sentence, no dollar amount that will fill the space she left. But I can promise you this because you fought, because you refused to let kids will be kids be the last word. The boy who helped destroy her will not walk away believing he did nothing wrong. She raised the gavel. Judgment for the plaintiffs. Program placement as ordered. Social media prohibition enforced. Court is adjourned. The gavel came down with a crack that echoed long after the microphones turned off. Asterisk, the internet wasn't kind to Aiden Brooks. The clips hit TikTok, YouTube, Instagram within hours. Some edited it to focus on his smirks, his dark humor, his line about weak people. Breaking. Others stitched in Judge Judy's calm takedown and Patricia's trembling confession, but the part that spread the fastest, the one that people replayed at 2 a.m., and sent to their friends with, "You need to see this," was the moment a mother stood up and said, "My son is dangerous. Do not protect him." Comment sections filled up. "This is real parenting. I can't imagine doing this to my own kid, but I respect her so much. Every school bully needs to watch this." Some of you are mad at the mom. I'm mad it took this long. Not everyone agreed. Some called Patricia heartless. Others said the program was too harsh for words. A few insisted kids say worse online every day. But for once, the conversation wasn't only about bad kids. It was about enablers. About silence. About all the times people laugh off cruelty until it's too late. In the months that followed, school districts used the video in assemblies. Counselors played portions of it for students who rolled their eyes at anti-bullying posters. Some sat up straighter when they heard Aiden on screen say, "I didn't think she'd actually do it," and then saw where that sentence got him. In a locked facility. The boy from the viral clip woke up every day to the same gray walls, the same schedule, the same lack of notifications. The first week, he was furious, shouting about lawyers, complaining about psycho kids, swearing he'd sue everyone when he got out. The second week, the noise in his own head started getting louder than the noise outside. Group sessions weren't like school. You couldn't have listen, scroll, and drop a meme. You had to talk. You had to sit through other people's stories. The boy who'd pushed a friend into traffic as a joke and now walks with a limp because his friend's brothers jumped him in retaliation. The girl who spread a rumor that got another girl assaulted at a party. The kid who filmed a teacher's breakdown and turned it into a viral sound. They weren't monsters. They were a lot like him. Until they weren't. There was one session where a guest came in. Emily's mother, Aiden almost didn't go. He wanted to refuse, to stay in his room. But refusal meant a write-up, meant extra restrictions, meant more weeks. So he went. She didn't scream at him, didn't throw things, didn't say his name like a curse. She told them about her daughter, about the way Emily sang in the kitchen, about her terrible puns, about the night she got the call from the school and how, for a split second, she thought maybe it was about detention, bad grades, something fixable. Then she looked at the circle of kids and said one sentence that lodged in his chest like shrapnel. "You all think you're not murderers because you didn't hold the weapon. But my daughter's autopsy listed cause of death as hanging. It didn't list what put the rope around her neck." Faces in her phone. That night, lying on the thin mattress, Aiden replayed every joke, every skull emoji, every do it then his fingers had ever sent. For the first time, he didn't feel clever. Asterisk. He felt sick. It didn't transform him overnight. Real change never does. There were still days he was defensive. Still moments he wanted to blame everyone: school, parents, even Emily for not being tougher. But the gap between those moments started to widen. He wrote a letter to his mother. It was short, clumsy, more scratched out lines than clean ones. "I hate being here," he wrote. "I hate what you did, but I also hate watching that video of me. I don't know who that kid is. I don't want to be him anymore." He never got a reply. Not right away. Asterisk. Patricia, on the outside, had her own rebuilding to do. Her friendships shifted. Some parents avoided her, scared they'd be next. Others quietly reached out, confiding in her about kids slipping into dangerous behavior online. She started attending a grief support group, not because her child was dead, but because, in a way, the child she thought she had was. When reporters tried to turn her into a one-dimensional hero mom for clickbait, she pushed back. "Don't put me on a pedestal," she told one. "I failed for years. My courage was 15 years too late for Emily." But when a local counselor asked her to speak at a parent forum about enabling versus supporting, she said yes. She told them what she told the court, with less shaking this time. "I thought I was helping him by defending him," she said. "All I was doing was teaching him that other people's pain doesn't matter if you can talk your way out of it." The day I stopped doing that was the day I actually started being his mother. The hearts didn't forgive overnight. That's not how real life works. But slowly, painfully, a fragile thread of something like, not friendship, but shared mission, grew between them and Patricia. They worked together to push the school district into changing policies, real consequences for online harassment, better reporting systems, anonymous tip lines that did more than sit in some inbox. They lobbied state legislators for updated laws recognizing extreme cyberbullying as a serious offense. Not a kids will be kids side note. Emily's name went on a scholarship fund, on a mental health initiative, on a mural at the school that read, "Words can kill or heal. Choose." As for Aiden, when he finally got out of the program, he didn't return to his old school. There was no old life to return to. He finished his diploma in a continuation program, anonymous among other kids trying to piece their lives back together after bad decisions. Part of his release conditions was those 200 hours of community service. One Saturday morning, he found himself standing in front of a classroom of 8th graders at a neighboring school, palms sweating. A counselor at the back of the room watching. He cleared his throat. "My name is Aiden," he said, voice shaking just slightly. "When I was your age, I thought everything online was just jokes. I thought if I didn't touch someone, I couldn't really hurt them. I was wrong. Someone died because I couldn't stop when she asked me to. I'm here so you don't become me." Hands went up. Some kids asked mean questions. Some asked scared ones. A few stared at him like they were trying to decide if they believed him. He answered, one by one. No jokes, no skull emojis. Just ugly, simple truth. A clip of one of those talks surfaced online eventually. It didn't go nearly as viral as his courtroom meltdown. That's how the internet works, but it reached who it needed to reach. Years later, in a small, worn notebook, Aiden would write a line he'd once heard in a courtroom and hated. "Mercy without truth isn't kindness. It's cruelty in slow motion." He finally understood it. If this story hit you even a little, ask yourself, are you the kid sending the jokes? The friend laughing along? The parent smoothing everything over? The bystander scrolling past? Because somewhere out there, another Emily is reading messages, thinking about whether tomorrow is worth it, and somewhere, another Patricia is sitting in the dark, wondering if she's got the courage to stand up and say what the world least expects to hear from a parent. My child did this, and it has to stop with me. Respect costs nothing, but as Aiden Brooks learned the hard way, cruelty online can cost a life.